LJ, have you fought your sexuality at some point in life?
I feel like Jay and Natalie, they've really said each and everything.
Not about you, they've shared the experience.
Yes, but in relation, it's more of society, family, like all these things. So it's not different from my story, because these are some of the things that contribute to someone not accepting themselves. Like, for example, you're in a society or in a family whereby it's religious, you have to go for prayers every Sunday. That means you're going to have to choose between your sexuality and your God, you get. So it's going to bring in a lot of confusion, because the more you grow up, the more you're battling with what you're feeling as a person, because these feelings are not going to stop. The more you grow up, the more you question even people around you. You can't talk to your mom because I'm assuming you don't want to receive negative answers, and at the same time you're not sure if she also knows these things, because at some point there are times when I have conversations with my mom, like random conversations, and then I'm like, but how come you didn't mention this? Sometimes she's like, I also didn't know, you get. So that time when they also got into a relationship or anything, they were also just being told, just go and do this, a woman is supposed to do this, you get. So you don't have time to really sit down and then for them to really explain to you that this is how it's supposed to be, because they also don't know. So you have to learn it on your own. So it gives you that whole thing of exploring yourself and reading more. Now that we have Google, now that we have internet, like, it's up to us to do that ourselves. But if your family is not accepting, if you do not know anyone to talk to, like, you're still going to battle with all these things. Even in schools, just like Jay said, you're scared because you're going to be expelled, maybe you're going to be exposed, you get. And the more they expose you, it's also going to carry another burden on your head. You're like, oh my God, I was ashamed, yet I also don't know what I feel, because you're young and these feelings keep on coming. In a society, it's more like it has to do with man and woman, because that is what we grow up. That is what they tell us when we grow up. A woman is supposed to do this. These are the roles of a woman, and these are the roles of a man. So Jede, like, the more you grow up, the things that you are told when you're young, it's actually the total opposite. So it's up to us, the generation that at least knows, to be able to educate other people and not leave them to struggle with all these feelings when it comes to their sexuality.
Okay, now that we are talking about mental health, I'm going to pose a question. Would you guys date someone who is still battling their sexuality, or who doesn't really get themselves? Because if someone is saying, I don't know if this is who I am really, and I'm maybe 25, and then you've come into my space, I've accepted myself, but you've not yet, where does that put me as an individual? Because then you'll have to question if you should really sign up for this thing.
I personally, like, on a personal level, I believe getting to understand and accept yourself, it's a journey. And me as a person, I can be supportive, but I can't be like, I can't force you to accept yourself, because it's up to you to do that as a person. And if you're still battling with your sexuality, I feel like I'll just support you as a friend, but not as a partner, because I do not want to take that journey only for you to realize that you're not, like, whatever you're feeling is different. Then where will that leave me? I'll just support you and talk to you, like, go through, help you with that journey. Because there are people who accept themselves as when they are young, and there are people who accept themselves who come out in their 50s, 60s. So if LJ is okay with their sexuality and this person is not, I can only be a supporting person, but not a partner who is going to stand by you through that journey, because that is your journey, that is not my journey. I'm sorry, I'm not being selfish, but yeah, but time, like, the more you grow, the more you do, like, you get to different levels. You feel like you do not want to waste each other's time. Like, if you're not yet okay with your sexuality, just like Jaya said, it's okay. Just take your time. Like, don't rush, but just look for people who are going to be there for you and comfort you throughout.
Jay, what do you think about that scenario?
For me, first and foremost, I would say, like, if you're still struggling to accept yourself, I would advise you, like, first, make peace with yourself. Like, relationships are fun, love is fun, but also relationships are work.
Yeah.
Relationships are work. You have to wake up every day and actually choose to do the work with this other person. And relationships are also, I feed you, you feed me. And so when one is giving more than the other person is giving, you find that you're going to struggle. It's not even about the confusion, but it's also about, we will spend so much time trying to help you on your journey of acceptance that there is no time spent on the relationship. So you find that maybe one side is suffering more than the other, which I would also be like LJ and be like, I'll support you as a friend, but for me as a partner, I would not be able to do that for you, because I feel like I would feel drained, and I will feel like every time I'm being dragged back into the closet, and I don't want to go back. I fought too hard to get out. I don't want to go back.
Even doubting yourself.
Yeah, I don't want, because I feel like I already struggle with doubt. Having someone who's voicing that all the time, that will completely like mess with my journey. And also, like, love has no logic. So I would also, because when you love someone, sometimes the logic goes out the window. That's why you find that there are crushes. You could have crushes on someone who's straight. You could have crushes on someone, and they are straight. It's not going to go anywhere, but you're still there, So I also understand that love has no logic, but also you have to understand that love and relationships, love brings you into a relationship, but it gets to a point in a relationship where love is not enough, where a connection is not enough, where chemistry is not enough. You have to be able to get to a place where you do the work, and to do the work, there has to be some sense of self-awareness. There has to be some sense of self-acceptance. Otherwise, you'll be taking 10 steps forward and 100 behind. So that would be my opinion.
I would agree with Jay to an extent. Mostly I'll come from an angle of love. When you love someone, really, I'm thinking, I've talked about before, fighting with love. For me personally, Jay mentioned something in there. I think what they were trying to mean is the reciprocation. If I'm giving and I feel like I'm not getting, I'm going to have a problem. But if I'm giving and I'm satisfied with the way you're loving me and I feel like it's okay, me personally, I go for energy. If I feel you're not there for me enough, it doesn't matter how much you say you love me. If I feel it's not enough, I think what I feel should be everything to you as an individual. So if I realize the effort is little on your side while I'm making all the effort, but when I feel like it's a balanced effort, me as an individual, I am okay. If I feel like you're meeting my needs as I want them, when I want them, when I need this, you are there for me the way I need you to be there for me. I'm not going to complain about whatever. If I feel my emotional is catered to, my physical is catered to, you're there for me in a way that is it sufficient, efficient? I think sufficient, yeah. If I feel I have enough of you, I'm not going to look around for what is missing, what could be wrong, what could go. I don't. I care about how I feel, how you make me feel is everything, so I go for that.
But then, Natalie, if someone is telling you that, I'm not sure if this is really me, where does that put you?
Are they here when you have doubts? Okay. For me, once I feel that doubt, I withdraw automatically. But if you have your doubt within yourself and you're not telling me, I'm not going to complain at all. You will never hear me complain when I feel, until you mention, you'll be like, I don't know. There, I withdraw my mind already. I'm gone. I stop giving in because you're not even sure of what you're giving. Because we have actors. people act in love, they can do everything right, but when their heart is even not there. So once you speak out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So when you speak, you've given yourself off, and I think that's enough. That's all I need.
I also feel like the older we get, the reason why we are saying we're giving this answer is because the older we've gotten, it's just we recognize what it takes to make a relationship work. You know, when you come out, you date everyone who gives you the time of day. Like, you don't even care, even if they're ashamed of you, even if they want to hide you, you don't care. You don't care.
In those kinds of
You're married. I'll be here because at that point you just want to affirm this side of you that I actually am. I actually am. And then the more you get comfortable with your sexuality, that's when you're like, you know what? I don't have time for this. You know, I need someone who will see me. Because at the beginning, we also were growing up. We were young. We did not even know ourselves, let alone know how to love someone else. So in those moments, it didn't matter whether someone is straight, whether someone is just playing around, whether someone is just by curious. It did not matter. But the older we get, we are trying to build, nourishing relationships. And when you're building that, it's different.
Okay. CJ, we would love to pause the question. CJ, we would love to also know your side, because you've known all our sides, yes, but we don't know yet about where you stand.
Okay, I think for me, if someone doubts their sexuality, I think that would really impact on my self-esteem as well. Because if you're doubting yourself, then you're going to make me doubt myself. Yeah.
What am I doing? First you feel like I'm the bad one, I'm spoiling it.
Yeah. So I think, just as Elle just said, I think it's better to support this person as a friend so that they can discover themselves. And we've really grown, and we've got to that point where you're like, I'm not wasting any more time. Like, I might date you, but then if I'm going to get hurt in the end, then what's the point? Let me just chill. Or you could just decide to be sleeping partners and discover yourself.
Friends with what?
Actually, you see, the question that you asked, I have this friend of mine, like, they actually told me about the same scenario. Like, there is this person they're interested in, but this person keeps on bringing the religion thing. You get, today this person is in, tomorrow they are out, and yet, like, this person is suffering mentally. You get, because for them they accepted themselves, but then every single time they pull away from this person keeps on coming back. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, I also don't know what I want. You get, but then they're really confusing this other person. So I told my friend, just let that person be. Just tell them when they're done discovering themselves, maybe we'll be there, but don't keep on going back in and out, because you're hurting yourself instead, and this person is not getting hurt.
And hearts are not to get stretched.
Exactly. And I don't like that whole thing of, I'm a Christian, God will not accept this or this, yet at the same time you're calling me for a hookup. What the fuck is that?
and the most annoying thing is that it's maybe even after the hookup that someone is bringing all this up. So you look at this person and you're like, you would have just left me be in my house. I did not have to deal with this guilt. I did not have to come here and be shamed. What's the point?
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're such a bad human being. You're not spoiling this person, and they're a victim of you, and then that doesn't feel good when you're the bad one.
And it feels like now you're being that person whom they say the lesbians who are recruiting. Now you feel like you're not that person.
I'm recruiting, I'm putting them, making them do something they don't want to. But and it ceases to even be anything. It ceases to be anything.
And those relationships don't go anywhere, if we are being honest. They never go anywhere.
I think it comes with age. There is an age for that, and then there's an age where you decide and you're like, see, I'm not growing younger, and the life I'm living right now, I can't afford to be playing around. If I'm in something, I'm there.
Okay, so what do you guys think about people who really get violent when they're drunk? Jay, how about you share with us that?
You can find that different people like are different in different places, but for me, my perspective is that alcohol does not create a new personality. Alcohol does not make you a different person. I'm sure you've heard those people who say, I have my alter ego who comes out when I'm drunk, or
I cheated because I was drunk.
Yes. You never really did it because you were drunk. If you're being honest, it always starts with a thought. You had a thought, you entertained the thought, and then something was said, you entertained that something that was said, and then it was a decision that you made. At each point you made a choice. So when someone is violent when they are drunk, it means that they usually are violent. It's only that when they are sober they are able to control it. That's why, like, when you're drunk, people always say when they're drunk they do irresponsible things. But honestly, if you're being honest, you always want to do these things, but you don't feel like you're comfortable enough to do them. But it's because at that point of being intoxicated, you don't really care about anyone's opinion. You don't care whether this person thinks you're dancing well or not. So you do anything. So which means that this person already is violent. It's that they don't care about your opinion about how violent they are. So it's something that is already in them. So it's them to really look into themselves and see, where is this violent character coming from? What am I really angry about? What are these things that I'm not really talking about? Because anger comes from, like, anger is normal. Anger is very normal. But when anger becomes a temper, now that's where you have to address, where is this coming from? What is this thing that is triggering this anger like this? Because you'll find this person, when they don't just become violent just like this, there's something that triggers them and they become very violent. So it's for this person to really get to that self-awareness. Yeah.
Can you relate it to childhood traumas?
Definitely, because you find that people who have been brought up in homes where the parents were abusive with each other, the parents were violent with each other, they look at violence as something normal. So in their minds, it's normalized because they saw it everywhere. Like, you find that there's someone who doesn't think slapping your partner is a big deal, because they think, I was angry, that is what I wanted to do, that is only a slap. But is it really only a slap? To get to the point where you feel like you're angry enough to impact pain on another person, that is not the normal sense of anger. So you have to address where these patterns are coming from, where are these habits coming from, where did you see these habits? Yeah.
Natalie, what do you think about that?
I agree completely, because we all do things from what we know. You cannot do something that is being done on Mars if you haven't lived on Mars before. So I'm thinking I agree completely with what Jay says, where I know that there's people who drink and then they will not be like that. And if I see that one person is in control, some people withdraw when they are drunk or when they're intoxicated in any way. Some people get happier some people have natural heights. They don't even have to take anything, but they're the life of the party, So I'm thinking that is just someone choosing to hide behind alcohol or whatever intoxicated them to be who they really are, but they only have something to blame it on. But when I know there is many people I know, myself inclusive, there is things I can't do. It doesn't matter whether I'm drunk or sober. There is a threshold. There is a point I don't go beyond. So I don't think being violent is just born out in a moment. There's people who get extremely mad, but they take a cup of water and they cool down. Other people cry. Other people withdraw, punch walls away from people, but when you feel like you've lost control of your body, that you're starting to throw your hands around and causing pain to someone you even claim to love, then I think that is indeed a disorder. That is wrong, and there's no excuse for that. But we can, of course, take it back to where is this even coming from? But we cannot blame it on alcohol, because some people take alcohol and they still are in control of who they are. But I know very many violent people, and this only heightens it gives you the confidence to do something you've always wanted to do. But that is somewhere in you. We don't tap that by touching people by induction or by, it's not airborne. Violence is not airborne. That CJ is going to see LJ beating up someone and then automatically, we even fear to beat thieves who steal from us. You find people and you're like, please forgive them, because that is who you really are. So this violence thing is not anything connected to alcohol. That's what I would really think. Maybe LJ will tell us what they think.
Sometimes people become violent because they've kept in a lot. So you'll do that one thing that will spark, that will trigger each and everything, and all their anger will be on you.
I know someone who told me straight up, like, for me, I beat, but I'm thinking I'm a feminist, and right now I'm trying to be a better human being. So I'm finding ways. And I kept seeing phones flying by my face, and that is a message to me. Like, that would have been a beating for you, but you're lucky that now I'm a better person. Yeah, but still, I think people still have to, what Jay mentioned, you need to do self-evaluation on yourself. You need to sit down and evaluate yourself, because if I'm not beating you, why do you feel like I need to be beaten? There's people who have grown up with parents who don't even beat. And there's also partners who take people's lives because they feel betrayed. I feel like we don't have to give ourselves that much power over other people's lives, because someone will choose to cheat on you or do something that you feel you don't deserve, but then you don't hold the right over their lives, over their body. People do these things because they've chosen. So I'm thinking it's safer to walk away, but also understanding the person you're dealing with. There is people where you know your person's temper, and every time you notice this person gets a bit hyper, you be the bigger person, you withdraw. Because there's people who get so upset, but there's people who provoke. You've heard of those women who push. They press the button, they push your head, they tell you, do you know where I come from? Me, I'll show you, my people at home. And you go to sleep and they come and they knock the life out of you. But if you feel like you know the person you're dealing with, there's people who, even if you push, you won't get anything out of them. But there's people who don't get violent, but when you over push, they feel like you're asking for it, so they'll come out. Now, when you understand that this person at their worst can get to this, I've been there whereby I'm thinking, if I don't control my mouth at this time, I'm finished. They're going to beat me. I would have been having scars, but then there was times when I would be like, I feel like talking, but let me calm down, because the other one is hyper. Let me calm down. And then I notice when there are times when I notice they are withdrawn, and I also be all hyper, because I know that that mode they're in can be. But when I notice that they've crossed a certain, I stay away. And somehow the relationship became easier for me to be there, because we would find a balance whereby when one person is up there, I go down there, but I know when to stop.
But the interesting thing about emotions is your emotions only last for 90 seconds. You only feel an emotion for 90 seconds. So what makes you be in a mood is because you keep repeating that thought. Have you ever noticed when maybe someone say something in the morning and it makes you angry, and then you say it spoiled my day, and it's because every time you remember you get angry again. Every time you remember you get angry again. So what happens is when the emotions 90 seconds has ended, what do? We think about it again, and then it becomes intense. We think about it again, and then it becomes intense, and that's what builds up the anger, because this person keeps thinking, so you think you can do this, and then in their heads maybe they're having a whole argument with you, which builds the anger more and more and more, because now the 90 seconds are building and building and building. And also anger is an energy. You have to know that you have to let that energy out. So it's either you go punch the boxing thing, or maybe there are people who go for a run. There are people who maybe go and hit the gym, because that energy has to come out. It has to come out, and that's why you find that there's someone who got so angry that they don't even remember being so angry. They blacked out and maybe did something that's very violent. Because that anger has to come out. It has to come out. So it's you to decide, are you going to let it out through words? Are you going to let it out through tears? And tears have a stress relieving hormone. So that's why when you feel good after you cry. So are you going to let it out through tears? Are you going to let it out through a physical activity? Because it has to come out. Anger has to be let out in some way. Yeah, so I would advise the person who feels very violent when they're drunk, find ways of letting that out. Because it has to come out for there to be the relaxation. Yeah.
Okay. How have mental illnesses impacted the community that you serve?
The ways in which mental illnesses have affected the community I serve, which is mostly young people, you find that maybe someone feels demotivated at work because maybe they're feeling depressed, or someone maybe is struggling in their relationship because they feel there are things they can't talk about with their partner. You find that we have these cases of intimate partner violence coming up because of mental illnesses. We find that the homophobia, the internalized homophobia becomes even more because of mental health. Because the thing is, when someone is struggling with their mental health, they are not balanced. So their body, mind, and soul balance is not where it's supposed to be. So that means even the slightest of things triggers them. Even the smallest of things triggers them. So you find that contributes to your mood, contributes to your habits, contributes to your lifestyle, contributes to your career, your relationship. So I would say it affects all aspects of people's lives.
Yeah, and also maybe to supplement, like for example, the queer community. When you come out to your parents who are not ready to accept you, obviously you're going to be rejected. That means you're going to be homeless, you're going to end up on the streets, you're going to end up not having that liberty of going to school, finishing your studies. So unemployment, poverty, like access to health services, all these things affect people like with mental issues, not only the queer community but then also this other community as well. So it has to do with things like that, acceptance, discrimination, like phobias. All these things affect the community differently. Yeah.